You're a monster, Zod. And I'm gonna stop you.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the 30 most physically powerful characters in the history of fiction.
Don't try to sell it short, Frieza. You and I both know it's an incredible jump. It's changed my whole idea of power.
Number 30, Spider-Man, Marvel Comics. After being bitten by a radioactive spider, scrawny teenager Peter Parker transforms into an absolute tank overnight.
Is he strong? Listen, bud. He's got radioactive blood.
Sure, he continues to be plagued by teenage problems, but now he can lift a car. Actually, he can lift a lot more. We've seen Spider-Man catch falling cable cars, stop runaway trains, even lift the weight of entire collapsing buildings. According to his files, he supposedly has the proportional strength of a spider. But when he's under pressure and lives are on the line, Spider-Man has proven himself capable of much, much more. Whether it's his adrenal glands working overtime or just great power coming with all that responsibility, Spider-Man stacks up somewhere in the middle weights, even in a universe full of superhumans.
But I can't shake these drones!
Number 29, Luke Cage, Marvel Comics.
I'm just getting started.
If this was a durability list, Luke Cage would be much closer to the top. His famously impenetrable skin can turn away knives, bullets, and even hits from Iron Man or Thor. It also gives him a level of strength that puts your average bodybuilder to shame. He may not be the strongest person on this list, but Luke occupies a spot on the scale where you get to do all the cool stuff like wreck construction equipment and rip through steel chains with your bare hands. Not enough? How about this? He once carried a semi-truck 7 blocks on his shoulders because it wouldn't start. Number 28, Mario, the Super Mario franchise. So what's the big deal? Mario can punch through a brick block. Real-life martial artists can do that. But can they do it once every few seconds for as long as it takes to beat the game? Now that's special. Then again, we're not ranking characters on endurance. What else you got, Mario? Oh, you can also lift a castle and dropkick it like it's nothing? And swing a truck-sized turtle around by the tail? You can also launch asteroids like cannonballs? Okay, point taken. Mario is the ultimate example of how looks can be deceiving. He might look like an out-of-shape plumber, but you should never underestimate someone who can drive stakes into the ground with nothing but a well-placed butt stomp. Number 27, Mr. Incredible, the Incredibles franchise. When Mr. Incredible needs a training montage, regular weights just won't cut it. Apparently, he heads down to the local rail yard and starts bench pressing train cars. That's a lot of weight to lift just to make a pun on training. As for Mr. Incredible, that's just a warm-up. In The Incredibles, we see him wrestle giant robots, change the course of battleship-sized vehicles, and wreck tons of household objects just by being absent-minded.
Oh, great.
His maximum strength isn't quite enough to get out of Syndrome's traps without help, and he's not quite as unstoppable as other heroes on our list. But Mr. Incredible is still a solid contender for strongest man in his world. Number 26, Wolverine, the X-Men franchise. How can you go wrong with an adamantium skeleton and razor-sharp claws?
I know what you are.
You lost your money, you keep this up, you lose something else.
Undoubtedly one of the most recognizable X-Men, James Logan Howlett has faced some of Marvel's most powerful villains, and his extended lifespan has involved him in some of the biggest battles in human history. His anatomy makes him nearly indestructible, and his healing abilities allow for quick recovery from any blows that enemies might land. His superb battle skills and experience have rallied impressive allies, from his team of mutants to a recent partnership with the one and only Deadpool.
You look ridiculous. People have waited decades for this fight. It's not gonna be easy.
Baby knife.
Even taking the adamantium from the equation, Wolverine's raw strength exhibits power and determination that has successfully defeated equally invincible adversaries. And seriously, just look at those muscles. Number 25. Kirby, the Kirby franchise. He might look adorable, but this little pink balloon is deceptively powerful. He's most known for inhaling adversaries, and doing so allows Kirby to acquire his enemy's strength and use their own weapons against them. With leafcutter ant-like strength, he can easily lift and hurl objects that are significantly larger than himself.
Yeah, now Kirby's a rock star warrior!
We've also seen him endure harsh environments, proving adaptable and resilient to extreme weather and geographical conditions. He's even taken down celestial beings and literal gods. His abilities, uncompromising determination, and unique versatility make him the epitome of the phrase tiny but mighty. Number 24. The Thing, Marvel Comics.
It's fantastic.
Ben Grimm is the equivalent of a human landslide. No, that's not just a pun on his craggy countenance. He's got all the power to back it up and more. Consistently shown as just below the Hulk in raw physical force, Fantastic Four's The Thing has managed to clobber the Jade Giant on 1 or 2 occasions, but just barely. Even so, he's lifted skyscrapers, oil rigs, and even replaced the cables of suspension bridges all by his lonesome. And whether it's all that weight training or the ongoing effects of his cosmic ray-induced mutation, he seems to be getting stronger over time. Who knows, maybe the Hulk has some competition. Number 23. Genie, Aladdin. Genie from Aladdin is an absolute colossus of cosmic power, a blend of cheeky humor and Herculean muscle.
What would you wish of me?
Be ever impressive.
The one contained,
You often imitated.
but never duplicated. Genie of the lamp.
His strengths, both magical and physical, are boundless, limited only by the imagination of his summoner. Genie could effortlessly alter reality with a flick of his wrist. He can lift mountains, reshape worlds, and defy the laws of nature, all while delivering punchlines that light up the cosmos. His strength, however, has one significant limitation that forces him lower on the list. He can only do these things while fulfilling a wish.
Hell, you little genius, you.
His power and strength are imprisoned within a lamp, and he is essentially powerless. Number 22. Juggernaut, Marvel Comics. Juggernaut is one of the most fearsome foes of the X-Men in Marvel Comics.
Who's that?
The Juggernaut.
Stop or we'll shoot!
Ooh, I'm scared. I better run.
Thanks to the Crimson Gem of Sidorak, Professor Xavier's stepbrother Cain Marko was bestowed with godlike strength. He transforms into a living Juggernaut, the embodiment of pure, relentless strength. Juggernaut is the proverbial unstoppable force. Nothing can halt his advance. Not mountains, not armies, not even the laws of physics.
Oh my god! Juggernaut! I thought that was you! I should have worn my white pants!
His immense physical power is matched by near invulnerability, rendering him almost impervious to harm. When he charges, the world trembles and barriers crumble. In a universe teeming with superhuman beings, Juggernaut stands as an indomitable monster.
I'm gonna squeeze the funny right out of you.
In the past, he has taken on and defeated some of Marvel's strongest heroes, including the Hulk. Number 21. Lobo, DC Comics. There's a reason why nobody in the DC universe wants to learn that they have a bounty on their heads. There's a decent chance that it's been taken up by Lobo, the main man.
So that's how you want to play it? Fine. Contract calls for the main man to put on a show for the locals. So one more time, surrender or die.
Lobo is a galactic powerhouse, a bounty hunter whose strength defies comprehension. Much like Superman, Lobo is the last son of his world Zarnia. Lobo's super strength is matched only by his regenerative abilities.
Fine. You had your chance.
He can heal from any wound, ensuring that he never stays down. Lobo has tussled with the Man of Steel on many occasions. On the job, Lobo is a one-man wrecking crew. His strength, ferocity, and sheer willpower make him one of the most formidable characters in DC Comics.
But you still sound like a dweeb.
You could have mentioned the immortality.
I like to keep people guessing.
Number 20. Rick Sanchez, Rick and Morty. In fiction, a Mary Sue is a character who is too perfect and competent to be believable.
You for real just try to smite me? Siri, triangulate source of power? Got you now, you son of a bitch. Sweetie, you handle the hippies, I'll handle the off-brand Yahweh.
Kick his ass, Dad.
Bear witness.
The only things preventing Rick Sanchez from being the Mary Sueist character ever are his attitude and his use of alcohol. He is possibly the most brilliant scientist in all of fiction, limited only by his own imagination. Rick's inventions can amplify his strength on a whim. His arsenal of gadgets can transform Rick into a powerhouse capable of toppling entire dimensions.
If you think my Rick's dead, he's alive, and if you think you're safe, he's coming for you!
He can reconstruct his own body at will, reshape reality, or construct an invincible mech suit. Rick's true power lies in his boundless ingenuity and unpredictability, making him a virtually unstoppable force. Combined with his ruthlessness and lack of moral constraints, Rick is all but invincible.
You're less motivated to fight now, so this is literally punching down, but you've got it coming.
Number 19. Shazam, DC Comics.
Shazam?
Okay, seriously, did someone mix a bunch of prank entries into this list? First Mario, now this literal child? What, does he just say a magic word and then suddenly he can lift a bus? Okay, yes, apparently that is exactly what happens.
I got the bus! I got the bus! Nobody over there! Oh, I gotta put this thing down,
Originally called Captain Marvel, these days he goes by Shazam to avoid confusion with certain other heroes. Billy Batson's superhero identity can punch through mountains, rip through steel, and, maybe most impressive of all, fight Superman to a standstill. To be fair, Superman is vulnerable to magic, so that might be what gives Shazam the edge. But anyone who can take on the Man of Steel is a force to be reckoned with. Number 18. Sentry, Marvel Comics. Sentry was meant at first to be a tongue-in-cheek spoof of DC's Superman. Overweight and over the hill, Bob Reynolds is an average middle-aged dude who remembers that he is, in fact, a powerful hero. He is the Sentry, a being with the power of 1 million exploding suns. He has the might of a living god, able to lift immense weight and take on the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. Sentry's presence can shift the balance of entire wars. Sentry is nearly invulnerable. His one weakness is his evil alter ego, the Void, who lives inside the same physical vessel. Sentry's power is all but limitless, making him one of the biggest tanks in the history of fiction. Number 17. Sauron, the Lord of the Rings franchise. Given the titanic power and depth of evil of Sauron, it's hard to believe that he was once just the servant of a greater and darker power.
What will they do when you tell them that you are my ally? When you tell them that Sauron lives because of you!
And you will die because of me!
Sauron is the most powerful and evil of the Maiar, an angelic race. As the Dark Lord, Sauron wields immense physical and mystical might. He can choose whether to wipe out entire armies by hand or with his mystical powers. The One Ring amplifies his strength and extends his influence across Middle-earth.
Victory was near. But the power of the ring could not be undone.
Sauron's physical form, when manifested, is towering and formidable, capable of devastating combat. His endurance is near infinite, surviving even the fall of Numenor. Sauron's strength isn't just brute force, it's his unyielding will, which is able to dominate the minds of others.
You cannot hide. I see you.
Number 16. Darth Vader, the Star Wars franchise. Darth Vader is a figure of raw power and elegant evil, a Sith Lord whose strength is both physical and mystical.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release him.
As you wish.
Encased in his iconic armor, Vader can easily overpower foes with the sheer force of his rage and violence. Vader's power is both reduced and enhanced by his terrible wounds. While he uses the Force to help his suit to keep him alive, the pain fuels his hatred and rage.
Obi-Wan has taught you well. You have controlled your fear. Now, release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me.
His mastery of the dark side of the Force amplifies his strength. Vader can choke enemies from afar, hurl objects with telekinesis, and withstand grievous injuries. Vader's combat skills are unparalleled, his lightsaber an extension of his lethal will. His presence alone can dominate a battlefield, instilling fear and crushing all opposition.
We would be honored if you would join us.
I had no choice. They arrived right before you did.
Number 15, All Might, My Hero Academia. By the time we first meet All Might on My Hero Academia, he's getting old. Injured and infirm, he can't use his powers for very long stretches of time without making things even worse. So how strong can he possibly be? Well, there's the time he punched a monster into space despite its shock absorption powers. Or the time he hit a guy so hard it changed the air pressure and made it rain. But that's not even the half of it. All Might is so jacked he can use his muscular strength as a ranged weapon. The sheer wind from his punches and kicks can topple enemies, level buildings, and even cause tornadoes. If he wasn't such a good guy, All Might would be a one-man natural disaster.
Goodbye. All for one. United States of...
Number 14, Hercules, Marvel Comics and Greek mythology.
I haven't had this much fun battling bird beasts since I saved Prometheus from that liver-eating vulture.
Hold on. If we start letting in mythological characters, that's gonna upend this whole list. But there is a loophole. It's not mythology when it's the comic book version of the character. Besides, the Greek myth version of Hercules arguably never came close to the feats of the Marvel version. This god and hero has towed the island of Manhattan across New York Bay and broken the Silver Surfer's supposedly unbreakable board. Maybe most impressively, he's held up the heavens themselves to give Atlas a break. How heavy is this guy? We're not sure if there's an appropriate unit of measurement, but it's safe to say it's pretty impressive.
Come on, deep down you admire me, I know it.
Number 13, Godzilla, the Godzilla franchise. Godzilla earns a spot on this list based on size alone. He's big enough to topple skyscrapers like Jenga towers. When he gets into a fistfight, cities are left in ruin. When he lifts and throws another kaiju his size, or, simply takes a 90,000-ton step, he's pulling off a feat equal to any of the Thing's major achievements. So why is Godzilla on the list and not some other kaiju? Why not the much larger King Ghidorah? First, Godzilla gets stronger and stronger the more radiation he soaks up, meaning he's got a higher cap on his power. But more importantly, Godzilla has fought King Ghidorah over and over, and every single time, he kicks Ghidorah's gold-scaled butt. Number 12, the Prince of All Cosmos, the Katamari franchise. Okay, seriously, enough with the joke entries. That's clearly just a big ball of stuff rolling around by itself. Wait, what? You're kidding. That little guy is the muscle behind this ever-growing ball of objects? Well, despite often being depicted as only a few inches tall, Katamari's Prince of All Cosmos clearly has some serious power. He starts small, rolling up matchsticks and pencils into his Katamari, but once he gets going, he will pick up people, buildings, or even kaiju. He's known to incorporate small landmasses into his Katamari. Before long, he's pushing around a sphere that's hundreds of feet in diameter. It's truly a sight to behold. Not bad for a little guy. Number 11. Thor, Marvel Comics and Norse mythology. The mighty Thor. They couldn't call him that if it wasn't true. And there's more to Thor than a fancy hammer and a bunch of lightning. His official ranking in the Marvel Universe puts him just below the Hulk in pure lifting power. And while he might disagree about who's the strongest Avenger, number 2 is nothing to sneeze at. Even without the help of Mjolnir, he's held shattered moons together, thrown around a serpent the size of the Earth, and resisted the gravity of a neutron star. When he arm wrestled his rival Hercules, the sheer force of their struggle was enough to tear apart a mountain plateau. Honestly, at this point, Mighty might be underselling it. Number 10. Kratos, the God of War franchise. Kratos killed like most of the Greek gods, so you know he's more than earned a spot on this list. In the God of War games, there's no doubt that Kratos is superhumanly strong. Just look at this shot of him heroically not being squished between a Titan's fingers. In fairness, that is just the fingertips.
Kratos, your death will not be a gentle one.
When Kratos gets around to actually killing a Titan, his go-to tactic is climbing around and stabbing them in the squishy parts. That says less direct match for a god and more very ambitious mosquito. Still, there aren't a lot of mosquitoes that can toss giant logs, punch a dude through a forest, or do this to the Hydra. There's no question that Kratos has earned his spot in the Super Strength Hall of Fame. Number 9. Asura, Asura's Wrath. You can probably tell from the title Asura's Wrath that the title character is not what you'd call a chill guy. In fact, as the game goes on, he just gets madder and madder. And as he does, he gets stronger. As Asura cycles through various power-up forms, he goes from strong enough to break mountains, to punching asteroid-sized monsters in half, to punching a being roughly the size of the Earth so hard it literally explodes. And that's not even his final form. Number 8. Thanos, Marvel Comics. You might think that having Thanos on this list is cheating. His most impressive feats are done with the help of the Infinity Gauntlet, which clearly lets him manipulate the fabric of reality. But even without the gauntlet, Thanos gives Marvel's mightiest heroes a run for their money. Case in point, he is consistently able to go toe-to-toe with the Hulk, which is sort of the gold standard for being considered one of Marvel's top tier in strength. He's by no means stronger than Marvel's mighty Rage Beast, but he can hold his own. Of course, he has the advantage of fighting intelligently against Hulk's berserker style, which does sometimes translate to a win. Either way, Thanos has more than earned his place. Number 7. Wonder Woman, DC Comics. Wonder Woman's strength hasn't exactly been consistent. Since the 40s, she's been depicted as moving islands with ease or having trouble lifting a tank. But when she's strong, boy is she ever strong. She has overpowered the whole Justice League, admittedly minus Superman, pulled Martian Manhunter out of a black hole, and stood her ground against Doomsday, the monster that killed Superman. Wonder Woman even single-handedly towed the moon out of orbit without even breaking a sweat. The only consistent answer to how strong she is seems to be almost as strong as Superman. Like Shazam, she's beaten him in more than one fight, making up for the difference in raw power with her magic weapons and superior training. Number 6. Unicron, the Transformers franchise. Unicron is a planet in the Transformers universe. Also, he's a robot. What does he eat? Other planets. And he does it by dragging them into his orbit and shredding them up with his terrifying giant robo teeth. Much like Godzilla, Unicron would have made this list even if he did little else. Every time he lifts a hand to scratch his nose, he's moving more strength than Kratos and Spiderman put together. Ripping chunks out of a planet is his equivalent of eating a sandwich. With Unicron, we've entered a part of the list full of characters who are so strong, it's hard for us mere mortals to even comprehend the amount of power they can put out. Number 5. Hulk, Marvel Comics. There's a reason we keep comparing the other characters on this list to the Hulk.
And Hulk. Smash.
He sets a bar for strength that few heroes can ever hope to live up to. She-Hulk, The Thing, Abomination, they all wish they could get on Banner's level. So how does he do it? Simple. The madder Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. And he gets pretty mad. We've seen the Hulk throw temper tantrums that single-handedly beat down every other Marvel hero, sometimes all at once. He's beaten up everyone from Thor to Fin Fang Foom to Galactus himself.
I always bet on green.
At his peak, Worldbreaker Hulk causes earthquakes when he walks and shatters planets with the sheer force of his fists. Number 4. Saitama, One Punch Man. Now, some people are going to be mad that Saitama's not number 1 on this list. Because, as the name One Punch Man says, he defeats any opponent he faces with one punch. How can that not shoot him straight to the top? But in terms of raw strength, Saitama hasn't technically proven himself the equal of even the Hulk. No, it's not Saitama's feats of strength that get him this high on the list. It's the way he does them. So casually. Like, he's not even trying that hard as he stops an asteroid or beats up a seemingly unstoppable monster. Makes you wonder, if this is him when he's bored, what would putting in actual effort look like?
必殺マジシリーズマジ殴り
Number 3. Darkseid, DC Comics. Darkseid is a cosmic warlord of unparalleled might. He is a literal new god whose strength defies comprehension.
I will stride across their bones and bask in the glow of anti-life, and all of existence shall be mine.
The ruler of Apocalypse, Darkseid's physical power can shatter planets and subdue the mightiest heroes. His Omega Beams, devastating energy blasts from his eyes, can hit speedsters and destroy worlds. He can take a punch from the Man of Steel and shrug it off as if it were nothing. Darkseid can swap buildings with ease and engage DC's most powerful characters in devastating hand-to-hand combat. This arsenal of powers and muscle, when coupled with his strategic brilliance and mastery of the anti-life equation, make Darkseid one of the most feared beings in the DC universe.
Anti-life is found, Assad, and we will stop at nothing to possess it. Ready the Armada. We will use the old ways.
Number 2. Goku, the Dragon Ball franchise. Goku is to anime what the Hulk is to superheroes. He's the yardstick by which all other examples of strength are compared. Sure, sometimes he meets an enemy stronger than him, but only until he screams enough to multiply his power with the next Super Saiyan level. It's hard to say exactly how strong that makes him, since he's usually fighting enemies strong enough to balance it out. But based on the sheer number of unfathomably powerful characters he has beaten, not to mention the planets they've blown up along the way, it's safe to say he belongs near the top. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Superman, Pre-Crisis, DC Comics. This is going to be controversial. The argument over whether Superman is stronger than Goku has been raging for years. To be fair, Superman as we know him today probably isn't. He can still move continents and push planets, sure, but before DC Comics nerfed him and his cousin Supergirl with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, Superman was in a totally different league. Here he is towing a dozen Earth-sized planets on a chain as a teenager. That alone matches any character on this list. But there's more. In Action Comics number 273, he destroyed an entire solar system in seconds by sneezing. Good thing he picked up an empty corner of space. Pulling off a feat like that by accident is exactly how you become the strongest character of all time. Who can beat whom in a fight is one of the classics of online debates. Please let us know what you think respectfully in the comments below.
Wow, that's a great question. Tough one, though. I mean, what does one gauge his response on? Physical prowess, keen detection skills, the ability to banter well with supervillains.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.